David Hale, he's got another Premiership medal around his neck. I don't know whether he's been to bed, but he's here. He's on the couch. We try and keep him awake for a bit. He's next.
Number 20, David Hale.
Ducks out of trouble. Brilliant. Rioli puts it through. How about that for a start?
Rioli's got his second and Hawthorn are now settling beautifully.
Birchall gets it from Mitchell and punishes them.
Cyril's got Hill and Hill's going to kick their fifth. Back to Hodge. That's a goal, I think. It is. Hodge has done it from nowhere. We shouldn't be surprised, should we?
It's a searing kick cutting through the afternoon. Brilliant pick up by Hill, though, and he snaps. I think he's kicked a goal out of nothing. Side the forward 50, and Yo is trying to work back. He's got it. Oh, that's big.
Schoenmakers gets the goal. Hutchings has had a quiet day. That'll help. They're coming a bit, I reckon. He's a dead-eye dick. He's kicked four for the second time in a grand final. Smith in the pocket. Clever. Oh, better than clever. Brilliant. Something in a beautiful spot. Gets the goal. And Smith kicks the goal. He's got his third. So Hawthorn have done it. They're three Peters. They are remarkable.
Well, it's an outstanding afternoon for Hawthorn at the MCG. 98,000. Please welcome three-time Premiership Hawk, David Hale. Did you ever think you'd be able to say, hi, I'm David Hale. I'm a three-time Premiership Hawthorn Football Club player?
No, definitely not. Obviously, the last 5 years have been fairy tale sort of stuff, and yeah, it's what everyone dreams of doing, I suppose.
So you moved over, Premiership in the last three, and then a grand final before that, and a prelim final before that. It's been an amazing ride.
Yeah, obviously played a few at North, but probably never really got close, and then every year we've sort of been up there contending, and obviously the last three we've got it done on the last day, so pretty special.
Before we get to the game, can I just go back to a golf buggy last night? Laps of the MCG. This was outstanding stuff. Who was behind the wheel?
Mitchell as usual. So
where are you at this point?
That security guard, he chased us for about 400 metres. So. yeah, I think he was a bit worried the pyrotechnics would blow the cart up. So
that was the issue, wasn't it? No problem really going around the MCG in the cut. The issue was the fireworks hadn't gone on right. If you hit them, you would have ended up in the top of the Great Southern.
Every year I think we've gone on the golf cart, and Mitch is usually the driver. So yeah, the security, as soon as we got up the race, he was right onto us. So Mitch was like, yeah, no worries, we'll get off, and then proceeded to go through about 5 more sets of pyrotechnics. Yeah, he wasn't real happy.
Now, David, you look like your head hasn't hit the pillow, but who led the charge last night?
Has the head hit the pillow?
I got about an hour in. So.
Who led the charge last night? Who was best on?
Lakey's pretty good, the old fella. I think any time away from the families, the dads usually spend a bit more time out, so they get a bit of spare time.
Yeah, fantastic. That's good. Great scenes though here, obviously at the Crown, all the supporters getting back as well.
Yeah, obviously, the Brown and Gold Army have been pretty lucky the last 3 years, and even the last 5 years since I've been there, they've experienced.
Last 40, actually.
The last, yeah. Well, I think, like you said, 13 in the last 40 years is pretty good. I've got a few mates to go for St Kilda, so they're still waiting for theirs.
You've got 3 to your name. There's 7 players that played yesterday that now have 4. Burgoyne won 1 with the power. He's 4 from 6 grand finals, which is remarkable, and it is just an extraordinary group. We'll have a look at the age profile in just a moment, but there seems to be an amazing belief within your system.
Yeah, obviously, the time since I got there, the game plan that Clarko's introduced and all the assistant coaches, everyone sort of knows their role and, backs our system in. And obviously, game day, Clarko lets us make our own decisions and backs in the experience that we've got in the group. And, I guess that shows on the big stage.
What was the theme, if there's one theme that was in the minds of being put there pre-game?
I guess for us, probably more about our attitude. I think, 3 weeks ago we let ourselves down in Perth, and I think, when we bring that attitude, everyone talks about our ball movement and all that sort of fluent stuff, but our attack on the, the man and the ball, and when we're at our best, that's probably something that stands out.
Do you feel that sharpened you up, losing the qualifying final? You go through and you get a chance to review, and everyone was probably a little bit down on form?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously that's the advantage of finishing in the top 4. You get the second chance, and some years you might finish like Richmond, I suppose, finish 5th, and they get knocked out straight away. So we had a bad game, and obviously the luck for us was that we got to face them again 3 weeks later. Not Sydney knocked us off 2012. We had to wait 2 years to get another crack at them. So it's I guess it was lucky for us.
Righto, Maxie, take us through the last game of the season. Quarter time was a 19-point margin, 31 at the long break and 46 when the final siren sounded.
Yeah, well, the Eagles had the absolute perfect start with Luke Shuey getting, a free kick that Luke Shuey usually gets, got his head down and won the contested footy and kicked the set shot, and that really set him up. And I think that was important for West Coast early to make sure they got that first goal. And this is something they couldn't do. They couldn't convert for most of the day. I mean, they kicked 1 goal 5 to 5 goals in the first quarter. So Sammy Mitchell was outstanding all day, and Grant Birchall, he doesn't need many opportunities from anywhere inside 50 to knock those over. But I guess the first quarter and first half was really about Cyril in particular, and he just kept getting in behind the West Coast web, and we've already spoken about this goal. I mean, Luke Hodge, obviously important when the game's still in the balance to kick goals, but I mean, he could do it from anywhere. Isaac Smith was outstanding, kicked 2 really nice goals, and just some unselfish play again from the captain here. Could have taken the mark himself, but allowed it to go through for a goal. Josh Hill, I mean, this started to get something going. It was a really classy finish, but in the end, it was just way too much for him. And the kicking efficiency for me was a big one. The second quarter, it was 71% to 44% to the Eagles. So they just had plenty of chances, just didn't do it. You see there Darling, but as I said, Isaac Smith, outstanding again. You cannot miss opportunities against this team, and that's what happened in the third quarter. LeCras had a set shot, Darling dropped a mark, and Shuey had a turnover running in a goal. So you have to take your chances against Hawthorn, particularly on grand final day. 3 things I learned. Number 1, fairy tales can happen. Ryan Schoenmakers, he was the one for mine. Obviously had the knee reconstruction. He missed out in the last couple of flags, but he was sensational. Number 2, I don't know if you remember, for those old enough, back to 1991, there was T-shirts came out, too old, too slow, too bloody good, the Hawthorn way. Everyone was doubting their speed, saying they're getting a little bit old, but they came out and did it all again. Number 3, Frawley's satisfaction. Unbelievable turnaround from a few weeks back. Obviously, he was knocked in the media. People criticised him, said that he wasn't going to be good enough, wasn't in the Hawks' best team, but he came out. He was absolutely outstanding. Had 22 disposals, 11 marks, but more importantly, kept the Coleman medalist goalless. So I just thought he played a great game and got some votes in the Norman Smith, which he thoroughly deserved.
Absolutely. He was sensational. David, I just wanted to ask you, I guess, about the Hawks' pressure. There was just a fantastic from the get-go and just pressuring the West Coast Eagles, especially around the congestion, and just forcing it back into scramble and then hurting them on turnover.
Yeah, I guess that's something we've learnt the last few years. Obviously, if we can, pressure on the inside, we've got, the outside runners in Smith and Hill and those sort of guys who can break the lines and obviously get us into our, dangerous sort of forward line that we possess. So, if we bring that attitude and intending close, and we think the rest of our game will flow.
We just saw Silveriola's chase down. I mean, there's a lot of tackles in the game of footy, but the chase down tackles are just inspirational. He's a magician. It must be really interesting to be in the same part of the ground as he is.
He's a freak. I think we got, the 3 small forwards we got in our forward line: Bruce, Rioli, and Chiopolo. They all like taking hangers, and they all, do the stuff that goes unrewarded, I suppose, is the tackling and the pressure they bring on the opposition. It's just that.
What about that, Mark?
Come on, Ruffy.
Ruffy Junior, I think. Lucky it didn't cost him a normie, I suppose. He won't play in too much.
He doesn't say much. He lets his footy do the talking, and it speaks beautifully. What sort of a fella is Cyril? He's very humble, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very humble man. He's probably one of the most humble you come across. Obviously very family orientated. Loves getting back up to the Tiwi Islands and spending time with his family and friends up there. So yeah, he's a very quiet man, but some of the stuff he does is unbelievable.
And Haley, Jack Gunston was the one that we were sort of worried about early in the week. How close was he to not playing? And obviously he delivered on the day with 4 goals.
No, I think he was always pretty confident. I think he trained. On the weekend that we played over in Perth, and then by the Monday, Tuesday, he had the normal Gunston swagger back. So he was. I think he was always pretty confident. And like the grand finals, he's been phenomenal. I think he's kicked 12 goals in the last four grannies. So
he's come over and just played 4 grand finals from Adelaide.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think he's ruined that decision.
There was one guy who got an enormous roar when he received his medal, Ryan Schoenmakers. Just tell us a bit about him.
Yeah, he's had to do it tough. He's been, there's always someone at the club who gets a bit maligned by the supporters, and every time he went near the ball yesterday, he got massive cheers, and I guess it's just justification for him. I think he had the chance to leave last year and go somewhere else, but he wanted to stick around and be a part of it, and obviously to play like he did yesterday on the big stage is credit to him.
Brett Ratton has had a really tough year, and I know this doesn't make up for anything, but it was wonderful in the box. Alistair Clarkson, as soon as the siren sounded, turned straight to Brett.
Yeah, obviously, losing your eldest son, you don't wish that on anyone, and he had a couple of weeks off, and then he sort of filtered his way back into the coaching role, and he's been great. I think he's been there 3 or 4 years now, and the stuff he does for all the boys, especially in the midfield, has been great. And obviously to celebrate the way he did yesterday with his family, special moment for him and obviously for the club.
We were speaking before about the kids on the ground. You got 2 little boys, I think.
No, I got two girls and a boy. 2
girls and a boy.
Yeah.
I think they're Cyril's little fella. There's Mitch and his kids. There was more kids and players out in the ground, but it was just fantastic scenes.
Yeah, I think there's about 5 or 6 of us have got kids now, but Shawnee's got 4 now, so he's got a few running around.
You've always been the family club, taking things to a new level.
No, it's obviously special for the families, and the kids might. There you go, the 2 little ones. So
your girls.
They might. They obviously don't appreciate the enormity of it now, but as they get older, they'll.
You had your youngest in the Premiership Cup last year, didn't you?
Yeah, he was about 9 days old last year, so Louis got me by a few days this year, but it's he's 1 now, so he's just starting to walk around, and he's a lot more enjoyable now than last year, but he's going well.
Yeah, Lee, I was just going to ask you about Sam Mitchell. Obviously, teams just seem to afford him so much space in finals football, and he just slices them up.
Well, I think he had 20 uncontested possessions, and if he gets the ball in a bit of space, he just delivers it beautifully. Goes left, right, left kick, left, right foot, either hand. So if you give him space, he's going to kill you. But everyone just keeps giving him space because everyone says their team defence will fall apart if we have one sort of close body checking tagger, but I don't know. That's what all the coaches are saying, but they just get destroyed every week with that attitude.
Just on Sam Mitchell, we saw him with his 3 kids. Would you have ever had, in your day, a thought of having kids on the ground or in the room? It's just so different.
No, it is so different. Seriously, in the grand finals in the 70s, the wives and the kids would be outside. They wouldn't be even allowed in the dressing rooms until an hour and a half after the game. They'd be still waiting outside. So the inclusion of the families, both in the dressing rooms and even on the ground post-grand final, it's a fantastic modern initiative.
Lakey seems to have disciplined his kids a little since last year. Last year, completely out of control. They were well behaved yesterday.
Oh, I don't know. One of his elves was trying to take hangers on me in the history lap. So,
I'm surprised
I think Mitch will give him a bit of a clip, but he's they're all right. It's hard to with Lakey setting an example. It's probably hard.
We'll see him behind the wheel of the Power, the Gatorade card in just a moment. We're going to ask Hale about his future on the other side of the break. Tell me this: is the reality of a grand final win versus the dream of it? Is it more than you imagined when you're out there circling in front of the fans?
Yeah, obviously when you're on the stage and the confetti flies up, and then the lap of honour, you sort of, I think the first one, bit on a high, and then obviously to have 2 more, you sort of soak it in, and obviously with the kids as well, it's it's a special moment, and it's as good as it looks, I suppose.
I think you're the oldest team that's ever played football in any league ever. Well, you're certainly the oldest Premiership winning team, and it's an extraordinary profile. What are you doing in 2016? How's the old body rolling along at 31?
It's pretty banged up now, so I'll sit down with the club and family in the next few days and decide what happens next. But we'll give it a couple of days.
That's the only stat that gives the rest of the competition hope,
Yep.
Because at least you think eventually a lot of these champions are going to eventually retire.
Bradley Hill, youngest there at 22 and 3-time premiership.
Oh yeah, I think he's been there for 4 years and he's won 3 flags.
It's unbelievable.
I think he's obviously got the jump on his brother now, so he's doing well, the little fella.
It would be a nice way to go out though, on the absolute peak of your powers.
Yeah, definitely.
You're giving us nothing, are you?
Can't get much better, but we'll let it soak in for a couple of days.
Beautiful. And we spoke earlier about the number of players, and you're one of them recruited from other clubs since the Premiership in 2008, which is an amazing group of talent virtually every year. And we all keep thinking Hawthorn will bring someone in this year too. We just don't know who it is yet. Every year, someone that's significant gets recruited in.
It's great needs analysis, though. They're just picking blokes exactly what they need at different stages and
who approached you?
Work.
Who's the genius behind it all?
To be honest, it was probably I spoke to Simo. He was obviously assistant coach at Hawthorn when I was obviously thinking of moving clubs, and spoke to him a fair bit, so he was probably one of the key driving factors in me getting over to Hawthorn. Obviously it was ironic the way it ended up yesterday.
Actually, Graham Wright, who used to Collingwood Premiership player, he's been the list manager during that period, so that comes under his umbrella.
Yeah,
so I think there's one person gets the most credit, that's to him.
And another guy, Brian Lake, obviously there's been a lot about his future and what he's going to do. He was absolutely brilliant yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's still playing well, the old fella. He's think I was on the bench yesterday at the end, and you know, he loves taking his grabs, and I think Clarko's going to be a bit crazy in the box, and I think one got over the back when you know, I don't think he likes actually punching the ball, Brian. He likes marking everything. So Clarko gets a bit frustrated, but he's that's just the way Brian is. You know, you get the good with the bad.
Now, also, if you leave an unmanned Gatorade cart around, you can't expect anything else but this.
Yeah, it'd be Lakey or Mitchell would be one of the two. So
the kids hanging off the back.
I love the guy who comes up just to shake his hand and says, "Thanks for promoting me." Thanks.
I just got a raise.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be at Hawthorn next year?
What will I be? Or Lakey?
Lakey?
I'm not sure. He's still playing good footy. His body seems to be in good nick. So he's he's probably still the best one-on-one defender. For the big gorillas. So. Yeah, I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be.
And Haley, what was the tactic to break the Eagles' web? It was something that was spoken about probably the second half of the season, but obviously you got out the back a lot. Was that the tactic? You try and play on every chance you could?
I guess just probably use the width and dimensions of the G. It's something that we play there a lot, and they probably don't play there enough. And they're used to playing on their skinnier sort of grounds in Perth, and we think we've got the outside runners and obviously the forwards to spread the ground out and make it as big as we need it to be. So that's something we probably bring to the table.
It was more like a mesh yesterday because there was holes everywhere and the Hawthorn forwards just kept finding the holes.
Because it was when you broke that first line, wasn't it, Jude? You broke the first line and get out the back. Then there was always extra numbers in the Hawthorn forward line because they'd all pressed up.
But also Cyril's smart enough to just know that he can just slice between those gaps, lead up. He allows that space, the defender to play in front and then come up through.
David, sorry, you're going to ask about the ruck?
I was going to ask about Nick Nat. You played against him a lot.
Yeah.
How'd you find him yesterday? We just felt, his impact wasn't enough.
Obviously his athletic prowess is something that everyone marvels, and big boy myself probably don't possess the leaping ability that he does, so we have to use our footy smarts and footy nous to get the job done in other areas, and I think we're able to nullify his impact and give our mids predictable sort of drop of the ball.
Just that ruck situation, I mean, basically mostly you get beaten in the hit-outs every week. That's pretty much normal, but the clearances don't necessarily get beaten. So is your ruck attitude just to try and nullify the effectiveness, I guess, of the other ruckman's hit?
Yeah, definitely. If you can make it predictable for the guys who got it at the ground level, obviously Mitchell and Hodge and Lewis, and those guys are special at clearances, and as long as obviously if you can't cover everything, obviously, so to make it as predictable as we can. So obviously with Nick Nat, you can't get him. He's sort of if he's getting 360-degree hits, it's hard for everyone to cover. So if we can make it as easy as we can for those little fellas to know roughly where the ball will go, that's probably the key.
Yep.
Trivial pursuit question for you. Who was the last player ever to be subbed out of an AFL match, ever?
Oh, well, that'd be me, so I might have to frame the red vest.
So what happens to the red vest? Where does it go? Is it a club-owned vest or is it an AFL-owned vest?
No, I think it's an AFL-owned one. I'm not sure. But obviously I was at home, and every game in the finals I got it to rest up, so I think Clarko's just trying to keep me fresh. So
Surely they're going to give you the vest. Just goes in the pool room.
Maybe, yeah. I'll have to inquire. We'll see how we go.
Just lastly on Luke Hodge, do you think he'll be captain next year? There's been speculation that he may hand it over. Is there any reason why he would?
I don't think so. I think the way he leads on ground is probably second to none. Everyone talks about his hardness at the ball and that, but his ability to set us up behind the ball and get guys in position is phenomenal.
I think the reason with that, it is ingrained into that club succession planning. So they're always looking ahead. So the reason Luke Hodge, the same as Jeff Kennett, moved on as chairman after a few years, that it's ingrained that we move on to the next generation eventually, and that's probably the reason why they may look for a successor.
Maybe. There's a few candidates down there, Lewis and Rufford, and obviously you got Liam Shields, who's probably one of the younger guys who can come through and take that role in the future. But while Hodge is there, I don't see why I'd need to step down.
Congratulations on behalf of all of us at Seven, in fact the whole footy community. Appreciate it. Good luck.